You are now listening to Tech Talk, a Caddo Kiowa Technology Center podcast. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? My name is Dylan Young, and I am the Communications and Marketing Director here at Caddo Kiowa Technology Center in Fort Cobb, Oklahoma. It is Friday, April 29th, 2022, and I am joined by, what is now known as the Digital Imaging and Printing instructor, Jeremy Wright. Jeremy, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. And we are also joined by a student of Mr. Wright's, Aidan. Aidan, how's it going?
I'm good. Nice to be here.
You having a pretty good school year?
I am. It's pretty great so far.
Good deal. Good deal. So the main premise and purpose of this podcast, this episode we are doing, is to talk to Mr. Wright and Aidan about what all they have going on in digital imaging. And from what I understand, there are some changes and some additions and things like that upcoming with the program. I'm going to just swing it over to Mr. Wright and let him explain a little bit what's going on.
Sure. So one of the big things is we've been graphic communications in the past, now currently digital imaging and print technologies. And things have changed, as technology progresses. So we've really kind of went from, doing a lot of stuff print-wise from presses to now what's a digital press. So there's a lot less, manual labor on that technician side. And then as well, we've got 3D animation and game design, and that's kind of been pushing its way through for a while now. So what we're actually doing is we're actually getting rid of some of the older programs that we had, such as graphic communications, and incorporating some new ones as well. So the main big change is we're also kind of doing away with the digital imaging and print technology name. From now on, we will be known as Innovative Technologies.
Nice.
And the main theory behind that is to kind of encompass new and emerging technologies in the fields that are kind of upcoming lately. So like I've mentioned, we have the 3D animation and game design course, which Aidan is currently taking now. Yeah. And then we are going to have two new programs. One of them is digital production, and that's going to kind of still encompass some of the old stuff that we used to do as far as like the graphic design, some of that graphic communication stuff. Also kind of running the digital press, designing things like logos, brochures, some web design stuff, as well as encompass video production. So, shorts, commercials, anything that's going to be kind of video-based as well. And then the third thing that we're going to do is kind of new to Caddo Kiowa Technology Center, and that is a computer support specialist. And so that's going to be kind of like an IT role that's going to kind of encompass a little bit of everything. Lots of technology centers have, like a computer technician course and then also a cybersecurity course. This course is going to encompass a little bit of everything. So, if you're interested in learning how to either work on computers, troubleshoot computers, build computers, we're going to cover all of those things on the hardware and networking side. And then we're also going to dive into the cybersecurity side. We're going to dive into the server admin side so that they can kind of figure out how to do Active Directory, set up users, passwords, set up networks. So we're going to kind of cover a really large spectrum on the IT support specialist side as well.
Man, that's really awesome. That's really exciting to be able to, branch out and offer, that many more options to your students. And so Aidan, so let me ask you, so you're doing kind of the gaming side of it?
Yes, we just actually, I wouldn't say finished yet, but we actually just went to contest with a game that we made called Little Red. And it came first place, actually, which we're pretty proud of there.
Oh, wow. So can you elaborate a little bit and kind of describe the game and kind of talk about the game that you guys developed?
All right. Well, we started off early in the year not knowing much of what to do except for modeling. So I modeled the characters fairly early into the year. And then later on in the year, whenever we were kind of crunching down on that deadline, we started getting some real work into it. We found a pack that did most of the moving and animations for us and actual combat and stuff called RPG Builder. And we bought that and are working with it right now, trying to get it to work. And then whenever we got that in, we just imported our characters that we've already made, had some pre-made assets and sprinkled them around and tweaked anything that wasn't too much into the favor of what we were trying to go for. But it's been pretty fun so far. I've had a good time with it.
That's really cool, and it's got to be. I would imagine that has to be pretty rewarding, to be working so hard on a project like that from start to finish, and kind of seeing the results and seeing it all come together. So let me ask you, what part of the process can you describe a little bit of what maybe was a little bit more like the tougher, more difficult part of it, or what you didn't enjoy as much, maybe?
All right, so this is actually a pretty funny story. Mr. Wright knows exactly what I'm gonna say. So the Friday before we went to contest, we had just gotten the level done for it. And it was all flush and clean. We had everything done. And the way that it worked is that we had backups, like every so often we'd back it up. And we hadn't backed it up in a while, and I had just finished the level. And we changed something that made it to where the character just didn't spawn. And we couldn't figure out what it was that making the character not spawn. So we just ended up having to go back to a back save. Well, once we went back to that save, everything was gone. And I mean everything. The level, the characters. We had to start from scratch, more or less, from the base RPG Builder. It was not the greatest time of my life. But we stayed late after, and we got it done.
Yeah, so kind of to elaborate on that, they were using source control, and that's more something kind of that they get into a little further down the road. And basically, each revision that they have that they submit of the game kind of permanentizes it. Well, everything normally with source control, when you revert back, doesn't really cause issues as long as doing things the correct way. Well, we hadn't branched in quite a while as they've been adding stuff out. So they had a saved revision, like he said, where everything was done. We were just really prepping to move it to another computer to take to contest. And they were trying to make some last-minute changes while we were moving stuff. And one little file delete, and we had to go back. And we were able to bring everything back. I mean, everything was still there as far as the framework and everything, but the level, which had been probably what the most time had been spent on, building it and making it look good, no matter what we did, we couldn't revert back those changes because they were made outside of that source control published. So anyways, it was definitely an adventure. They got to kind of see what it's like last minute to go through and have a deadline approaching and have to really crank away at finishing something so that they could go. And so we ended up staying until about 10:30 that night, right before we left. But they ended up winning first at state contest, so it was hard work, well worth it, I guess.
That is amazing, and congratulations. And that's the thing is, like, I think for a lot of people out there that are listening that don't necessarily speak you guys' language, and I'm not there myself, I don't think a lot of people realize like how much time can go into doing something like this,
Right.
So, my hat's off to you guys, because I know it takes a lot of hard work and everything like that. So, well, is there anything else that you guys kind of want to touch on or talk about before we start wrapping this up? I appreciate y'all coming on.
No, I mean, we really just kind of wanted to get out there the new programs that we're going to have. We're excited to kind of see, what kind of new student base we get. So if it's something that any of you out there listening are interested in, whether it's the computer support technician, or if it's the game design or 3D animation, or even if it's, digital production, video, photography, stuff like that. We'd be super interested to have you guys as we kind of transform this program into something new. And so if it's something you're interested in, make sure you guys reach out here at Caddo, Kiowa and try to join in on those classes.
Absolutely, and you can go to our website anytime at cktc.edu, and then in the menu you can hover over full-time programs, and then you will see the program listed there with more information, including contact information where you can get a hold of Mr. Wright if you have any questions. But, well, guys, Mr. Wright, Aidan, I greatly appreciate your time, and I appreciate you guys stopping by.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So there you have it. I want to thank you all for joining us on the third episode of Tech Talk, a Caddo, Kiowa Technology Center podcast. We look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. If you would like to learn more about us, you can hop on our website anytime at cktc.edu. We are also on social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Everyone have a great one.